20 minutes, one punchline. And then she said the words that made Jimmy stop laughing. It started the way every late-night appearance is supposed to start. The applause was warm, the band was playing, everything was normal. And then he made a joke. It wasn't even a particularly sharp joke, just a gentle quip about her lifestyle brand, the kind of friendly ribbing Jimmy does with literally every guest. The kind of joke that's supposed to make the audience laugh, the guest laugh, everyone feel comfortable. Meghan didn't laugh. Her smile froze, her eyes went cold, and when she responded, Jimmy's face changed in a way his audience had never seen before. What followed was 11 minutes of the most uncomfortable television in Jimmy Kimmel Live history. The jokes stopped landing, the audience went quiet, and somewhere around minute 14, Meghan said something so cutting, so unexpected, that Jimmy, the man who's made a career out of quick comebacks, had no response. You're not going to believe how this ends. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is your sign. Hit that button, turn on notifications, and make sure you're here when stories like this drop. Let's get into it. The Jimmy Kimmel Live studio on Hollywood Boulevard had its usual pre-show energy. The audience filing in, Cleto and the Cletones warming up, the production team running final checks. Tonight's guest list was strong. A comedian promoting a Netflix special, a musician with a new album, and the main event, Meghan Markle, making her first late-night appearance in over a year. The monologue went well, political jokes landing, the audience energized. Then Jimmy settled behind his desk for the first interview of the night. My first guest tonight is a former actress, current duchess, and entrepreneur. You know her from everything. Please welcome Meghan Markle. The audience erupted. Meghan emerged from backstage in a designer dress, waving gracefully, hugging Jimmy with practiced warmth. She settled into the guest chair with elegant precision. Meghan, welcome. Thanks for being here. Thank you for having me, Jimmy. So, let's dive right in. You've got this lifestyle brand, as ever. Jams, candles, the whole aesthetic. Very elevated, very intentional. That's exactly right. We're creating products that bring mindfulness to everyday moments. I love that. Mindful jam. So when I'm eating toast at 7 a.m., half asleep, I should be meditating on the jam? The audience laughed. Meghan's smile remained fixed, but didn't quite reach her eyes. It's about intentionality, choosing products that align with your values. My values at 7 a.m. are mostly, don't burn the toast, and find the coffee. Is there a candle for that? More laughter. Meghan's expression cooled slightly. We have a morning clarity candle, actually. Morning clarity! See, that's what I need. Does it come with instructions? Or do I just light it and hope for the best? The candle creates an atmosphere conducive to... I'm just kidding around. The products look beautiful, honestly. Very Goop adjacent. Are we going to see jade eggs in the lineup? The audience roared. Jimmy was grinning. This was the kind of gentle teasing he did with everyone. Meghan's face went cold. I don't think that comparison is fair. Jimmy's grin faltered slightly. It was just a joke. Gwyneth's great, very successful. The implication was mockery. The implication was friendly ribbing. That's what we do here. I make fun of everyone. I make fun of myself constantly. Matt Damon and I have been fake feuding for 20 years. I'm not Matt Damon. No, you're not. Matt can take a joke. The audience made a collective sound, something between a gasp and a laugh. Jimmy had landed a punch without quite meaning to. Meghan's posture stiffened. Perhaps my work deserves more respect than comparison to jade eggs. Perhaps it does. Tell me about the work. What has As Ever actually accomplished? We're building a brand that elevates everyday experiences. That's marketing language. What have you actually done? Products sold? Impact made? Something concrete. We've launched a successful product line that's received positive feedback. From whom? What's the sales data? What's the growth trajectory? Meghan's eyes narrowed. I don't discuss internal business metrics on entertainment programs. But you came here to promote the brand. Promotion usually involves telling people why they should care. Give me something to care about. The quality speaks for itself. Does it? Because I've heard that line from a lot of people whose products didn't actually speak for themselves. The audience had gone quiet. This wasn't the friendly banter they'd expected. Let's try something else, Jimmy said. Netflix. The partnership ended. Your show didn't get renewed. What happened? Business arrangements evolve. We're taking the brand independent. That's the official line. What actually happened? That is what actually happened. But Netflix was a big part of your launch. You said having them was huge. Now they've stepped back. That's not evolution. That's retreat. It's strategic repositioning. Whose strategy? Because from the outside, it looks like they decided the investment wasn't paying off. You're not in a position to assess Netflix's decisions. I'm in a position to read the trades. First look deal instead of full production. Show canceled. Brand partnership ending. The direction is pretty clear. Meghan grabbed her water, took a deliberate sip, set it down. The direction is forward. Toward what specifically? What's the next project? Announcements happen when they're ready. That's what people say when there aren't any announcements coming. I've been in this business a long time, Meghan. I know what announcements coming soon actually means. What does it mean, Jimmy? It means there aren't any. It means things aren't going according to plan. It means the controlled narrative isn't matching reality. Meghan's voice dropped dangerously. You don't know my reality. You're right, I don't. Because you won't tell me anything real about it. You've been in Australia recently, Jimmy continued, shifting topics. The wellness retreat. Big event. $3,000 a ticket. It was a meaningful experience for everyone involved. Everyone except the people who paid $3,000 and then you left to watch rugby? The audience reacted audibly. This was sharper than Jimmy usually went. I was present for the significant portions. The significant portions didn't include the parts people paid for. My schedule is complex. So is everyone's. But when people pay $3,000 specifically for access to someone, and that someone leaves early for a sporting event, you can see how that might frustrate them? I can see how things might be mischaracterized. What's mischaracterized? The price? The departure? The rugby match? Those are facts. The context is mischaracterized. Then give me the context. Explain why leaving a paid wellness retreat to watch rugby makes sense. Meghan's jaw tightened. I don't owe you explanations. You don't owe me anything. But you're on a show that reaches millions of people. This is your chance to explain. Why won't you take it? Because explanations become ammunition. For whom? For everyone. Jimmy leaned back. Including me? Right now? Perhaps. Okay, let's try something lighter, Jimmy said. How's Harry? Every wall in Meghan's demeanor reinforced simultaneously. I prefer not to discuss my husband. At all? This appearance is about me. But you're a team, Harry and Meghan. Everything's joint. Foundation, brand, public image. I have my own identity. You do, but you've spent years building a joint brand. Now you want separation? I want to be seen as a complete person, not just an appendage. Fair enough, but I'm not treating you as an appendage. I'm asking how your husband is doing. That's a normal question. A friendly question. There are rumors I should address. What rumors? The divorce speculation. Jimmy's eyebrows rose. I didn't ask about divorce. But that's what people are really asking when they ask about Harry. That's what you're hearing. I asked how he is. You heard divorce. That's interesting. The audience shifted uncomfortably. Meghan had walked into something. The speculation is baseless. Our marriage is stronger than ever. Great, then describe it. What's something you did together recently that you enjoyed? Meghan paused. The pause stretched too long. We're very focused on our work. That's not what I asked. I asked about something you enjoyed together. Date night, a movie, a walk, anything. Our lives are private. You've made your lives extremely public. Documentary, book, interviews. The privacy boundary seems to shift depending on what serves you. That's unfair. Is it? You've discussed your marriage on Netflix, with Oprah, in extensive detail. Now I ask a simple question and suddenly it's private? You know what I notice? Jimmy said, his tone shifting. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've had hundreds of guests. Actors, politicians, musicians, regular people with crazy stories. Almost everyone can engage in basic conversation. Back and forth. Questions and answers. Meghan remained rigid. What I've gotten from you tonight is different. Every question is blocked. Every topic is off limits or answered with press releases. I've tried to be friendly. I've tried to find common ground. You won't let me. Your questions have been hostile. Which ones specifically? I asked about your brand. You gave me buzzwords. I asked about Netflix. You said strategic repositioning. I asked about the retreat. You claimed mischaracterization. I asked about your husband. You brought up divorce unprompted. None of my questions have been hostile. Your interpretation has been hostile. Because I know where this goes. Where does it go? Tell me. What do you think I'm trying to do here? Extract something you can use against me. Like what? I want to understand your work. I want to hear about your life. I want to have a conversation that my audience finds interesting. That's not extraction. That's entertainment. Your entertainment is my exploitation. Jimmy sat back. The audience had gone completely silent. That might be the most paranoid thing anyone's ever said on this show. And I've had some pretty paranoid guests. Meghan stood up partially, then sat back down. I won't be called paranoid. Then don't act paranoid. I've asked about Jam, Netflix, a retreat, and your husband. Those are the softest possible questions. If those feel like exploitation, the problem isn't my questions. The problem is the entire system. The system that's made you rich? The system that gave you a platform? The system that's currently giving you free airtime to promote whatever you want to promote? That system? You don't understand the pressures. I've been famous for 30 years. I understand pressure. I also understand that pressure doesn't exempt you from basic conversation. It doesn't make every question an attack. It doesn't turn friendly talk show hosts into enemies. Friendly? You've been anything but... I made a joke about Jam. That's how this started. A joke about Jam. And you've acted like I accused you of war crimes ever since. The joke was disrespectful. The joke was standard late-night banter. Every guest gets it. Every guest laughs. You couldn't. And that tells me something. What does it tell you? That you've lost the ability to laugh at yourself. And people who can't laugh at themselves are usually protecting something they don't want anyone to see. Meghan grabbed her purse. I think we're done here. We're done when the segment is over. You can walk off, but I'll note that you did. Note whatever you want. I will. I'll note that you came on a comedy talk show and couldn't handle a joke about Jam. I'll note that you brought up divorce when nobody asked. I'll note that you couldn't name a single thing you've enjoyed doing with your husband recently. Those are interesting things to note. Meghan stood fully, her face flushed with anger. You're exactly what I expected. What did you expect? Another media figure more interested in tearing me down than building me up. Jimmy laughed. Not cruelly, but with genuine disbelief. Building you up? That's not my job. My job is to have entertaining conversations. Yours is to be an entertaining guest. One of us did our job tonight. It wasn't you. I came here to discuss my work. And I asked about your work, multiple times. You gave me nothing, no specifics, no stories, no details. Just marketing language and defensiveness. That's not discussing your work. That's hiding behind it. Meghan moved toward the exit, then turned back for one final confrontation. You'll regret this. I won't. What I'll regret is booking you in the first place. I'll regret thinking you might actually be interesting. I'll regret assuming you could handle a show where people tell jokes. Turns out I was wrong about all of that. Meghan walked off stage. The band didn't know whether to play her out or stay silent. The audience sat frozen. Jimmy turned to face them, his expression mixing disbelief with something like exhaustion. Well, that happened. He rubbed his face. I've been doing this show for 23 years. I've had drunk guests, hostile guests, guests who forgot why they were here. I've never had someone walk off because of a jam joke. The audience laughed nervously. I want to be clear about what just happened. I asked about her brand. She gave me marketing language. I asked about Netflix. She said strategic repositioning. I asked about Australia. She called it mischaracterized. I asked about her husband. She brought up divorce unprompted. I didn't ask about divorce. I asked how he was doing. She heard divorce. That's something her therapist should probably explore. More nervous laughter. Then she accused me of trying to exploit her. On a late-night talk show, where people come to promote things. That's literally the exchange. You come here, you're charming, you plug your product, everyone has a good time. She couldn't do any of it. Jimmy shook his head. You know what's sad? I actually wanted to like her. I wanted to give her a platform to be funny and human and relatable. I gave her every opportunity. Soft questions, easy topics. She treated each one like I was cross-examining her in court. He looked directly at the camera. Meghan, if you're watching, and your team definitely is, I hope you figure out whatever's going on. Because right now, you're making enemies out of people who wanted to be friends. I wasn't your enemy tonight. I was a talk show host trying to have a conversation. You made that impossible. And when you make that impossible everywhere you go, eventually you have to ask, is everyone really against you? Or have you forgotten how to let anyone in? He turned back to the audience. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got someone who can actually take a joke. Unlike some people. The audience laughed, relief flooding the room. When the show returned, Jimmy addressed the elephant in the room one final time. Before we bring out our next guest, I just want to say something. I've done thousands of interviews. Some go well, some go badly. That's the job, but I've never experienced anything quite like what just happened. He paused. I made a joke comparing her brand to Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's brand. A compliment, basically. Goop is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. She acted like I'd insulted her family, and it only got worse from there. The thing is, I don't think this is really about me. I think she's arrived at a place where every question feels like an attack, where every interaction is potentially hostile, where even friendly late-night banter is interpreted as exploitation. That's not a media problem, that's a worldview problem. And until she addresses it, every interview she does is going to go exactly like this one did. He shrugged. Anyway, let's have some fun. Our next guest is actually capable of laughter. Please welcome. The footage aired that night. ABC made no cuts. The clips that went viral were devastating. I made a joke about jam, and you've acted like I accused you of war crimes. You brought up divorce unprompted. I didn't ask about divorce. Building you up? That's not my job. I've never had someone walk off because of a jam joke. I wasn't your enemy tonight. I was a talk show host trying to have a conversation. You made that impossible. Meghan's team released a statement calling the interview hostile from the outset, designed to embarrass rather than engage. Jimmy addressed it on the following night's show. Hostile? I asked about her business, her Netflix deal, her retreat, and her husband. Then I made a joke about jam. That's the hostile part, apparently. A jam joke. If jam jokes are hostile, I've been committing war crimes on this show for 2 decades. The audience laughed. Look, I've interviewed people who were going through genuine crises. I've talked to politicians who were facing indictment. I've sat with celebrities in the middle of public meltdowns. Almost all of them could find some moment of levity, some ability to laugh, some willingness to engage. She couldn't do any of it. He paused. I hope she gets whatever help she needs. I genuinely do. But I also hope she stops blaming everyone else for her own inability to participate in normal human interaction. At some point, when every interview goes badly, you have to look at the common factor. And the common factor isn't the interviewers. For Jimmy Kimmel, the interview became an unexpected defining moment. Proof that even the friendliest late-night environment couldn't accommodate someone who'd decided the world was against her. For Meghan Markle, it was another failed appearance in an expanding pattern. Another host who didn't understand. Another platform that refused to provide unconditional validation. But for the millions who watched, something else emerged. The gap between the image Meghan wanted to project and the reality of how she actually engaged with people. She wanted to be seen as warm, relatable, human. What she revealed was defensive, suspicious, unable to handle the gentlest form of teasing. Jimmy had offered jokes. Meghan had seen attacks. And by the time she walked off that stage, everyone watching understood exactly which one of them had been unreasonable. And it wasn't the comedian still sitting behind his desk, wondering how a conversation about jam had gone so wrong. Jam. It was about jam. What do you think? Was Jimmy too harsh? Or could Meghan just not handle a joke? If you're into these breakdowns, subscribe and become part of this community. Turn on notifications so you catch everything we drop.